AEW Revolution is televised.
Oh man, it's been a long time coming. Listen, I've been trying to track him down. He's like a well-dressed Pokemon. You see what I'm saying? And I finally I've achieved and I've grabbed him. He is here, the legend, the man. He is here, the absolute one, Ricky Starks. What's going on, brother?
Well, I didn't know. I did not know you've been trying to get at me for this long time.
Oh wow!
But I'll be honest with you though, I tried to, like, I have deleted the Twitter app off my thing, so I had to go through the browser to really see, stuff like that. So my apologies, I did not know. But look at us now.
So, Mr. Starks, first question, man, what's it like being a debonair, a suave, a sexy mother? What's it like?
Easy now, Ricky. Honestly, it's easy work. It's easy work. You know what? I personally feel like, as a guy who's trying to bring in his own style and his own thing, it's very easy to be compared to other people. But at the end of the day, comparisons are cool. I like to be shown for, what I bring to the table. That's the style, that's the fashion, that's my smoothness. Smooth Ricky is what they call me. Pretty Ricky is also what they call me. So if you get that reference. So honestly, I love it. There hasn't been someone like me in a while. I feel like there's a lot of like close enoughs, but not exacts.
Facts.
But it is hard being me sometimes.
But yeah, that was just me trying to be silly, because I'm gonna tell you, when I seen you do that, I was like, I'm not joking, man. I don't pretend like I know everything. That's what stupid people do. So I was like, yo, I know I seen this dude before, but wait a minute, hold on, hold up. Wait a minute, why ain't this dude on TV every week? That's it's right when you did that right there. I swear that's when the light bulb hit. I go, hold up, man. This is when I started the campaign, man. This is when I started going around doing my grassroots campaign to get Ricky Starks like some kind of championship. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It is what it is. That's kind of funny how wrestling works. I'm not saying you get throttled, but things don't always happen in the timeline that you want it to. And so it's, to me, I don't mind it, because at least when I have fans come up to me and say these things, and they say nice things about me, and like, I just don't, you're so great on the mic and this and that, I take it as a badge of honor. And that's the cool part, because one thing you can't fake with people is the genuine connection and the genuine talent that people see and what they gravitate towards. So it's a very sweet thing to hear people say a lot of the times, because that's just me being me at the end of the day. So,
Hey, Ricky, I think the last few months have been an absolute whirlwind for you. Through your eyes, what has been the most defining moment in recent memory for you?
Defining moment, man. I had just recently rewatched my promo I did after I lost the FTW title. And I think that was a moment where you see me, I'm not at my breaking point, but that is a moment where I kind of let everybody know and let it be known just about who I am and what I'm about. And one thing that I will never do is I'll never whine and complain about something that I don't have. I will always just go out and get it. If I don't like my situation, I just change it, or I force change. And I want to say that was close to my defining moment in that sense, because that was such a very personal and real message that I was trying to tell people. You know what I'm saying? I said, hey, I deserve this time. I deserve more than 30 seconds, 20 seconds to talk. I deserve it. You may have someone say, well, why does he deserve it? I deserve it, because I work my ass off. I deserve it because I have done so much for myself just to get to this point. And anybody can say they deserve something as long as you know that you put in the work for it. I refuse to let anybody try to dictate what I do and don't deserve.
Do you think it's safe to say that put a chip on your shoulder?
I don't believe in having a chip on my shoulder. A lot of people like to say that. I don't look at it that way. I think of it as like, hey, the best way I can explain is, I don't think of it as a chip on my shoulder. I think of it as a matter of fact of an issue. This is the issue that I face, and this is how I'm going to address it. And then I move on. to have a chip on your shoulder, to me, kind of equates it to being like a very complaining, a very like disgruntled person. I don't see myself as that. I work 100% to the best of my ability while having this idea in my head of like, okay, this is what I'm trying to prove to myself first, and then to other people secondly.
Yes, well, that's well said. And I know you touched on it a little bit, but what that general sentiment out there, you know, in the IWC, and I know, trust me, it's hard for me to quote the IWC, but they are a loud minority. Do you get frustrated when there's people saying that you should be pushed, you should be this? Do you feel like you've been used to your maximum potential, or is it just one of those things where you're still on the grind and you don't focus on that? But that don't bother you at all, as far as you? I know you see people being like, "Yo, this dude needs to be like in the title picture like consistently." Does that get to you?
I mean, I guess so. Yeah. I mean, but it's not a sentiment that I don't hear, or that I have not shared. I'll be lying to you if I don't share those sentiments. I feel like everyone feels that way at a certain point. I think what it boils down to, and I think a lot of people can relate, is that when you know you have so much to offer, right? And you are ready to, you have the bullet loaded and you have the finger just ready to pull, and you're just, all right, let's do it. And it doesn't exactly go off, or, you know, stuff like that. That's where the frustration sets in, with a little bit more emphasis on the passion and the drive behind it. And yeah, I hear it 100%. And I am frustrated. I have been frustrated. And I already know this is going to blow up and people are like, well, Ricky's frustrated at AEW. I'm actually not. What I'm saying is I'm frustrated that I'm not exactly where I want to be within myself. I'm frustrated that my linear path that I have already set in my head, regardless of where I'm at, hasn't been exactly where I want it to be. That is a self-frustration. Mm-hmm. That is a frustration that ultimately what I'm frustrated with is just time. That, I mean, there's no person, there's no entity that I'm frustrated with. I'm just frustrated with time, because I haven't gotten to where I want to be and what I want to do. And as they say, that takes time. So that's my biggest enemy, is that I do appreciate people saying like, hey, you deserve this and that. I do deserve it. I absolutely 100% deserve it. And I will get it. I will get it in time. So I appreciate people keeping that sentiment up, because the same people that are rallying behind me and creating this energy is the same energy that I have balled up within myself. And I think at this point, people know how passionate I am about wrestling, and how serious I take it, and how serious I take what I'm trying to cultivate here. Ultimately, I said it before and I'll say it again. I stand shoulder to shoulder with people like CM Punk, with the Kenny Omega, with a Roman Reigns, a Seth Rollins. I don't care what you think about it as a wrestling fan. That's what I believe. Wow. And that's what I'm gonna die believing. Mm-hmm. So it's not for me to say those things for you to believe it. It's me to say it out loud to let y'all know what it is. And at the end of the day, I'm going to die on that hill, because that is who I am. And that is what I ultimately believe. So, you know, it's all good.
Damn. Loving it. What you got, Andrew?
Ricky, for you growing up, do you remember the moment that you fell in love with wrestling? Do you remember what match it was? Because for me, growing up, I was watching Shawn Michaels versus The Undertaker. That's what made me fall in love with pro wrestling. Do you remember that moment for you?
Not the exact moment, but I do remember my fondest memories, like being 7 and Taker walking up on the steps and doing the pyro with his hands and being like, whoa, that's sick. Yeah. You know, having that in the back of my head has been pretty much my earliest memory. But also too, my brother used to watch wrestling a lot too. So I used to, when I was younger, with him. But I really, really remember falling into it based off of that. Mm-hmm.
Mr. Stark, I would be remiss, you know, because listen, I'll be remiss. We getting close to the end of Black History Month. I'd be remiss if I ain't touch on it a little bit. The Lord knows I don't want the black folks to come out and get me. I don't want any coalition to come out and say, man, you ain't even interview a brother all month. But listen, I got a brother on right at the end, right at the back end, absolute Ricky Starks. So I don't want to ask you what it's like being black in wrestling. You've been black in wrestling for a while. But I do want to ask you what it's like to be that person that represents where you're from and your family and your background and things like that. What is that like to carry that with you in professional wrestling?
Well, when I was growing up, I didn't really see anyone in wrestling that looked like me. I think the closest person that in my neighborhood that people could relate to was The Rock.
Yeah.
And so I think it's pretty cool because a lot of people don't realize that I am Black. And I'm not saying that there's ignorance there to it, but there's a lot of like, I don't know. What the best way to describe it would be, let me how can I'm trying to say this in the nicest way, you know what I'm saying? The best way that I could describe it is essentially growing up in New Orleans, and there's a lot of mixed people in New Orleans, a lot of people of Creole descent, a lot of people who you know, they're of my type of fair skin. And so growing up in New Orleans, to me, that was normal. To me, that's just okay. Right. I've seen Black people like that. Coming into wrestling, I had to realize my thinking is not as large as that. Like, there's people who've never been to New Orleans or never seen anyone of my so they you know, they don't really know. So it's important to me, at least, to have somebody to represent that, and to have somebody grow up and be like, oh wow, I can watch a wrestling show and relate to this person and know what they've been through. That's a big deal, a part of it for me. And it represents New Orleans to a T. Like, that's the biggest thing that I love, is being able to represent finally for a city that I love near and dear. So, you know, being Creole, being mixed, being of a lighter skin, there are people who share that every single day. And man, there's so much more that comes with that too, you know, but it's a big deal and I love it. I love embracing it. And I hope to one day, like, have somebody be like, hey, when I was growing up, I was watching Ricky Starks on TV, blah, blah, blah. So,
yeah.
I don't know if you know about you probably know about the secret war between light-skinned brothers and dark-skinned brothers, man. Can we put that to bed right now? Can we squash it, Ricky? Cause you and I, are we united?
We are united, my man. Come on. We go together like peanut butter and jelly.
Y'all better stop this foolishness out here, y'all.
It's wild. Someone called me beige rage once. I've heard it all. My light skinned friends, they kill me all the time. Y'all better stop this foolishness. We gotta come on now. Right.
Hey Ricky, by me asking you this question, I'm not implying that you need one because I think you're amazing. But you see Darby Allin with Sting, and you see Lance Archer with Jake the Snake Roberts. If you could choose any legend to be your quote unquote manager, who would you choose and why?
Oh man, I would choose the legendary Ricky Starks.
Love it.
I would go in time and then choose him and then bring him back.
Yo, that's
a great choice. He's a good choice.
Time machine. Well, listen. So we got it here, man. The 5th of March, the Revolution actually will be televised. You are going against Chris Jericho, the Ocho, Le Champion, all that stuff. So why will Ricky Starks beat Chris Jericho and vanquish this all-time, and I mean all-time great, make no mistake?
Well, you know, this is the thing. I already beat him once. To beat him again is a point that should be said and stated right now. When you are the president, you are always the president, right? Jericho was the first AEW champion.
Yes, sir.
He was the first guy to come in this company and do it. He was the first guy to beat legends, and he has such a track record that can't be taken away from him. To beat him once is cool, but to beat Chris Jericho again, that just puts me in a situation where I'm a lot closer to the AEW championship. I think anybody can see it that way. I can skip the line and go straight to the top. That is what that is ultimately about. And so with that in my mind, to get back at something that I was close to having before, beating Chris Jericho is just what I have to do. That's what I have to do. So I'm not worried in the lightest. I think this will be a match that people will love. I think this will be a match that really puts me on an exam for people to see, okay, let's see where he's at, if we really like this guy or not. Ultimately, I mean, if you like me or if you don't, I don't care either way. But it's a big proving point, especially for younger Ricky, to have a match against Chris Jericho, beat him again for the second time, and then go on and do my thing and become AEW champion.
Wow.
You mentioned your younger self though, but like speaking from that point of view, how does it feel to go up one-on-one with Chris Jericho, looking back as the fan at one point?
It's crazy. It's honestly insane. Kind of the same way I felt when I wrestled Sting. Like that was wild as well. So these moments that I have are just I look back and go, what is happening? But I'm prepared for it, and I'm meant to be in these situations. Is how I look at it.
Yeah.
So you go on to beat Chris Jericho. There's a lot of things going on. MJF, Bryan Danielson, title picture.
Yeah.
Where do you see? Do you have a path in your mind to getting back in that title picture, that title race? That's the ultimate prize? Is there any other titles in AEW that you wouldn't mind holding on to get there, or you want to get to the AEW championship?
Definitely want to get to the AEW championship. Definitely want to become the TNT champion. Those are the two right now that I'm really focused on. But things don't always happen in such a way. So I could be talking to you right now, and then 4 months later, become the Atlantic champion. So as you know, I never want to put myself in a box because I'm so, once I visualize it, I have to do it that way. It has to happen that way. And so I have to really teach myself to not be so emotionally connected to what I dreamt up. And I have to be willing to be like water and just, self-direct myself when needed.
Go, Andre, go. You got to go.
Who are some of your dream opponents in AEW that you haven't touched yet?
Who?
I've answered this question before, so let me try to remember those answers so I don't look like a liar. Obviously, CM Punk. Those are the main two right now that I really want to get after.
Those would be amazing matchups.
Yeah, I would do Sting versus me and Sting again. That'd be cool.
That's crazy, man.
Sign me up.
Singles.
I saw that sock drive that you were part of, and and I think about some of these things sometimes when I knew I was going to get a chance to speak with you, and I think it's important sometimes to talk about things that are outside of the ring. And what was that like, putting that together and seeing that turn out now?
Dude, that was wild.
Yeah, I was seeing the video.
Portland or Seattle.
It was crazy. I seen the video. I was like, what?
Okay, so one, I didn't know about it till they may have told me this a week in advance. I don't remember, but I was reminded about it the day before, and I was like, okay, there's a sock drive, right? And so I just went up there and I was like, okay, I'll just take pictures. I thought it would be like, I don't know, 10 people, 20 people. Man, since there was a curtain, I couldn't see the line. Tell me why I'm like grabbing these socks and taking pictures, and I said, what the hell? It looked like a full line that, it just kept going. It was so crazy. I think the lady who was running the event as well, in correlation with our people, she was like so surprised. I think they got over 750 pairs of socks or something.
Wow.
It was crazy, but it was a true testament to the people who cared enough to come out and see me and making sure that they got the best experience. Hopefully those people walked away being like, wow, that was great. I saw Ricky, blah, blah, blah. I felt, it was a joyous experience for them overall. But I was even surprised by it because I was like, damn, that's cool.
Really?
Great. It was all for a good cause. I loved it.
Awesome stuff, brother.
Hey, Ricky, you've been in these shoes before, but what's the biggest piece of advice you have for somebody that's aspiring to become a professional wrestler?
Well, the first thing I always say is don't touch anything without 100% heart. Don't do this if you're just gonna half-ass it. Don't do it if you're not ready to make sacrifices and go all the way with it, because people who touch things with half a heart, guess what they get in return,
Right.
So that's my biggest thing and I always tell people that. And the other thing too really is do it with as 100% intentions. I have a saying that I say, do nothing without intention. Do nothing without intention, because you're wasting everyone's time. So if you just follow that path, I promise you, in anything that you do, it will work out for you. But that's my main number one thing when people ask me, like, what do you do to make it? If you're not willing to do all that, if you're not honest with yourself, then what's the point?
Mm-hmm.
Before I get you out of here, if you get your workout on, brother, I usually do a Mount Rushmore, but I don't like doing the Mount Rushmore wrestlers because only 4 can be on there, and you're gonna piss somebody off, and I don't want you doing that. What I try to do is I try to centralize the focus. So, can you give me your Mount Rushmore, your 4 top things in New Orleans? Can you do that? Can you give me a Mount Rushmore of New Orleans? It could be people, places, things, food. It could be anything, but the top 4 New Orleans products.
So beignets is first.
Facts.
A shrimp po' boy, naked, a naked shrimp po' boy. Who else? I would say Harry Connick Jr.
He's dope.
Yeah, I'd say Harry Connick Jr. And then I'm gonna say the Superdome.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good
Yeah.
name. That's a nice Mount Rushmore in New Orleans.
Yeah, if it ain't Harry Connick Jr., there's a bridge called the Twin Spans that's kind of funny because it's almost like a vertical bridge. You just go up and it's scary as hell. I used to love riding that bridge when I was younger. It was connected you from New Orleans to Slidell, and I used to ride it all the time. So yeah, if we could squeeze in the Twin Spans because it's a little bridge, so
we can squeeze it in.
Kind of Jr. in the Twin Spans, and then the Superdome is my cup. Damn, that's a great question. Actually, that's probably the best question I've ever been asked.
Damn, listen, Mr. Ricky Starks, it's been a pleasure, brother. But before we get you out, is there any final words you have for Chris Jericho? Can you cut like a mini promo, like a baby promo? I don't know.
Well, I get paid for that.
Come on, Ricky.
I will leave you with this, okay? I will leave you with this. No matter the amount of nicknames or T-shirts or these little quirky gimmicks Jericho can give himself, it really fails in comparison to actually being absolute and being a man of the people, being a man of New Orleans himself. And it's about time that a young person really stands on his own 2 feet and let the veterans know exactly who the hell I am and what I'm about and what I'm about to go get.
Absolute Ricky Starks. I appreciate you. He's like, listen, man, you got to do this for free. I got to pay. I got to pay for that.
I mean, that was good too, even for a half-hearted one.
Yo, listen, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. This was great.
What an honor.